This is a video that's going to talk about the Gartley pattern or the Auto Gartley tool in MotiveWave. I've done a 1-minute tip video on using the Auto Gartley tool, but there's much more to what MotiveWave can do with Gartley patterns. I'm not going to try to teach Gartley here because I'm not an expert. If you're looking for an expert, here's who you should go talk to. You should go to structuraltrading.com. And Kathy has got some excellent videos on Gartley there that you should look at. You can also follow her on Twitter. The Gartley pattern always has a shape that consists of X, A, B, C, and D. And when we say Gartley pattern, it can be a Gartley where B is 61.8% of XA, or it could be a butterfly, and there are always two types of patterns. There's the bull pattern and the bear pattern for the butterfly, the Gartley, the bat, the crab, the deep crab, the extended crab, and the shark. These are all different kinds of patterns that are 5 points, but we generally refer to them all as Gartley patterns. The butterfly has a 78.6 B, and the bat has a 38.2%. So that's how you know if it's one pattern or the other. After you have your first pullback into B, it's going to tell you which pattern you're looking at based on what percentage B is of the XA movement. If you want to learn more about Gartley, if you're already using the Gartley tool, then presumably you know a lot already, but here's an excellent tutorial called the Gartley Pattern Tutorial, and you can find that by just doing a scan on Google for Gartley Pattern Tutorial, and it's the first hit from the Forex Factory, and you can download that PDF file. But if you're looking for really good training on the basics of Gartley type patterns, there's really nobody better out there than Kathy at structuraltrading.com. I've known Kathy through trading for about 4 years now, and her videos are excellent. So let me get into MotiveWave now. I'm going to take a look at two charts. I'm going to take a look at CSIQ, which I've recently been trading. And here we have a pattern where XA was this down wave here, and then B was an impulse wave back up. If you hover over this line here, it's going to tell you what kind of a pattern it is. It's a bat pattern from February 28th to September the 4th, which is where the D is, where I've landed the D. It doesn't mean it's going to end there. It really could be anywhere, but it's just where I've decided to finish it. Notice that the tool tells you that it'll show you your percent retracements if in the properties you tell it to. These shaded zones are acceptable areas for your final point to be. So B is within this green shaded area. So that told me right away when we hit very close to 50% that we had a possible bat forming. And if there was a reversal, it would likely go down anywhere within this green zone, which is quite large, but that's the Gartley trading parameters, or the Gartley parameters. And notice that we hit the C point pretty dead on. So any short that you had on First Solar was worth taking off at that point, and I had a short set of calls and a short set of puts, or a straddle position. So I took off the short calls here, and now I have short puts that are appreciating in value. and I'm going to hold on to those until we hit 3810 and start to reverse, or we could continue up beyond 3810. Sorry, 3810 is where I stopped the cursor, but actually the correct point is 4186. That will be a 88.6% retrace of this X and X to A move here. 88.6 will get us back to 4191. But a reversal point could occur here, and it could occur at the top of the blue zone. So I need to be aware that this pattern can be complete anywhere along this blue line. But I'm going to keep holding my short puts until we get into this shaded area and I start to see a confirmed reversal. There's another chart that I can show you which is very, very similar. Another excellent one. You notice we have a head and shoulders here, and the head and shoulders pattern indicated that we're moving down, which is what happened after earnings. X to A, B, let me just hover over this here. This is a bat pattern as well. B was a retracement. C was perfect. And because I now have 1, 2, 3, 4 pretty good points, when I say perfect, it wasn't perfect. Perfect would have been hitting 51.6. But we did see a retrace in this area, and now we can start trading it down to D. And at D, and we hit D, I mean just incredibly right on. Oops, sorry about that. Let me put this back. Let me grab point D. And you can see that 43.59 was the ideal target for D, which was 88.6% of the XA move. And didn't we hit it? Bang, right on. And we saw a reversal. So a lot of people are trading this. So how do we draw these patterns? Let me go into any other, well, I've already got a pattern there. Let me go into a good old Apple, and let's just do another analysis. Let's just call it our demo that we're going to do, and let's have it empty. In other words, let's not base this off of any of my previous other annotated charts, and I've got a daily here. How would I visually spot a Gartley? Well, a Gartley has to have a high point, your X, then an A. B must be less than X. Let me go into the manual Gartley tool. And I've got all of my tools right down here on the toolbar. And this particular tool lets me draw a manual Gartley. So pick my first point, then my second point. B must be less than X. C must be greater than A. So far, we meet all that criteria. And let me just put D out anywhere at all and finish the pattern. So D would finish at 81.88, and you can see that we continued to go beyond that. So if this were a valid Gartley, and that's what this is, let me just expand this to show you a little bit better. Is it really a Gartley though? Well, we overshot the 61.8. We can change that pattern by control-click on a Mac and go to type, and we know that if it overshoots a Gartley, it could go to a butterfly at 78.6. Let's take a look at what a butterfly would look like. We undershot a butterfly and we overshot a Gartley. Does a butterfly pattern look any better? Well, it sort of does, because we hit the first, we're in the first zone for a completed butterfly pattern. And then there's an extended butterfly which could have taken us up to here. So when we hit this first butterfly pattern, we did see a retrace, a bit of a flat period, and then we saw, let me expand that now, let me give us a bit more room, and let's take this pattern here, and let's see, it would have topped out here and it continued to go. So it wasn't a Gartley, it just continued to bull through that. But the point is that I'm showing you how to draw a Gartley and then change it to a butterfly. Right click on this, go into type, and let's see what a bat looks like. Well, clearly it's not a bat, which would have been a 0.5%. 0.5, we way overshot that, so it wasn't a bat. Go in and you can look and see, was it a crab? Ooh, well, crab pattern would have had B at 77, 71, 61.8%. Not much different there. But just basically, you can cycle through all of these and see which one fits the best. So the video here is really showing you the mechanics, not studying Gartley. So let's get rid of this, and now let's go into a different mode, which is the auto Gartley. And the auto Gartley will draw the points for you. So I click here, and now look what's happening as I drag my mouse. It's finding an A, a B, and a C. And now it's moving the C point because it's found a better C point for the pattern that it's covered so far. And it ends here. You see how it's adjusting the C pattern? So it's the Auto Gartley tool, which will automatically find the best fit over the range that you're covering. So let me get rid of this. Let me go into another chart. Let me take this CSIQ. Let me do a fresh one, a new analysis. Call this one demo also. Make it empty so it's not based on this Gartley pattern that I've drawn here. And let me use the Auto Gartley tool again. Where do we see a potential Gartley? Well, if we started one here, we could go up to here and we see an X, we see an A down here, and we see a B there. So let's try it. Let's go into Auto Gartley, and let's see if we have one from here. Why do I pick that point? Just because I did. It picks an A there, but it can't quite find a B. So I move to the next peak, and there's an A, there's a B, there's a quick C, oops, but now as I move, I could, if that's the pattern I like, I can take it. I can stop it right there and say, there's a completed one, and now I'm going to try to find out if there's any patterns forming. Once I've clicked and locked it, now I'm not going to get my B and C changing. Now I can manually find a D point, and that was our first D target right here at 2018, which we pretty close. It was, it's an excellent pattern. And then we started to move, and our next move would be an ABC. And we'd try to find the ABC before another potential Gartley pattern happens. You notice this point down here? This still could have been a valid pattern if price had continued to lose beyond 20. We could have gone down to 6 and still have been a valid bat pattern with a 38.2% retrace. It's an alternate bat. So let me go back for the sake of redundancy and do the Auto Gartley again. Auto Gartley from here. Now, why didn't I start here? I could have. Might even be better to start there. So see, we found an A, B, C, but since we didn't go down, then this can't be a proper pattern, because look where D would have been. It would have been down here. So there's Still seeking an A. It's found an A, a B, and a C. But D would have been 7150, and we're not going there. So it's going to continue to find A, new A, B, C. Oh, now it's found a new one because why? Because we didn't go down to 2825. So there's a new one, A, B, C, A, B, C. If we start the chart back as far as we did there, we get a Gartley pattern, not a bat pattern, that would be going down to 1473. But that doesn't appear to be happening. Not that that couldn't happen. This isn't a significant enough impulse back for me to say that we are in full motion up. So I'm going to keep my eyes open because we could be going down to 1473. Now, once the chart is drawn, you can play with your points. Highlight your chart, move that up here. Move this B point to there. Again, this is just mechanics, and I'm showing you that once you've got your auto Gartley drawn, you can then switch to manual mode. Your other tools that you have available here are you can start with drawing a Gartley, bat, alternate bat, butterfly, crab, deep crab. You could do an ABCD, alternate ABC, AB equals CD, 3 drives, and 5 and 0. These are all things you need to study, but all the tools are in here, and they're all used the same way. Now, the last way you can use the Gartley is in your Scan tab. And you create a scan. And to do that, go in here and you say New Scan. And you want to do a Gartley. I'm just going to call it Gartley Demo. Geez, I can't type. And I'm going to do Gartleys. And I'm going to use the New York Stock Exchange as my list, the symbols that are on the NYSE. I'm going to base it on 1 day period. I can choose weekly, monthly, hourly. And I'm going to look for X, A, B, C, D patterns. I'm going to look for all patterns. I could look just for Gartleys if I like to trade Gartleys. I could look for just butterflies if I like to trade butterflies, but I'm going to look for all of them. And I'm going to say use all available data. I'm going to say finish. I've selected my Gartley demo scan. I'm going to start my scan. And I'm going to look for 3 green dots as being the best fit. And for manpower, it's telling me that this looks like a good manpower shark pattern. Down here you have Walmart, potentially in another shark pattern. But that's your third option for using the Gartley tools. You have your manual, auto, and then you have the scan. If you have any questions on how to use this beyond what I've given you here in this overview, ask questions in the comment section, and I'll do my best to answer them.